wow. That is some wild right there. All right. Hey, what's up, guys? So back here, got the 4900 UTV. Yeah, she's seen a little better days. Car's super solid. I'm really happy with how everything held, the cage, the chassis. It was a pretty nasty wreck me and Eric took. Really happy with how everything functionally worked on the car. Cage still appears to be perfectly straight and good. We're going to get it down, get it on the jig table later, probably next week, and get it checked out. Obviously, you need some new brackets, but the lights, the Vision X lights are tough, man. They're still all in one piece. Got bent around, but I think I can just unbolt them, build some new tabs, bolt them back on. So that's pretty cool. Starlink, it didn't fare so good. But no, going on around the car, we did bend the trailing arms and the rear radius rods. The back of the car took multiple impacts. But really, the rest of the chassis actually fared really well. Do have a dent in the tube, but that's pretty minor. I'm going to build a gusset for it, and but it appears to be straight. So we're going to gusset it, make sure it's fine, and again, we'll get it on the jig table and verify all that 100%. Yeah, I mean that pretty much is it. Just a bad deal that early in the race. Not really get to race the car much. Kind of bummed out. Really bummed for all the partners and everybody that helps with these cars, but it is racing, and that's a chance we take every time we pull into the racetrack. So not real happy that it happened, but there's not much I can do about it right now, uh, other than prepare more for next year and make sure I don't make that mistake again. And after that ride, I don't think I'll make that mistake again. So pretty cool. Huge shout out to everybody that helps. Everybody from the Badlands Off-Road Park, they do a phenomenal job just helping us out. Anything we need, they're always there. They're always ready to help. They got really good staff, really good people. Super happy to work with them. Nitto Tire, Raceline Wheels, RCV Axles, Willwood Brakes, of course, Warren Winch, CA Technologies, VP Racing Fuels, Tire Spines. There's a ton of people that help keep this thing going. Of course, we got, PRP Seats, Simpson. Those guys all kept us safe when we were doing our little acrobatic stunts. Super happy. Everybody on this car, and obviously Can-Am builds an awesome vehicle. So excited to see how far we can take these this year. We got the pre-runner over here on this side for everybody. This thing's obviously been beat on. It pre-ran all the rock trails. I think we almost did 5 rock laps out there with this car. So it's seen the rocks quite a few times and has done phenomenally well. Really happy with it and how it turned out. Obviously, I got to clean it back up. It sustained a little bit of body damage, but nothing that can't be fixed. And we'll try to get them all straightened up. And I got a lot of work ahead of me to try to get these things back right. So I guess I better get to it.
What was the issue? What caused your accident?
So we took off and we didn't realize that the GPS, all the volume got turned all the way down on the GPS. So once we took off the race, I realized, like, wait a minute, this thing's not calling notes to us. Because there's a few spots I went through that I knew I had noted a certain way. And I was able to just remember the notes. And so I knew, like, it should be reading. And I was talking to Eric and I was like, hey, the volume or something's turned off on the GPS. We're not getting any of our notes. And so Eric starts trying to dig through the GPS, and at this time we had Cole in front of us and Phil passed us, and we kind of knew Phil was going to be coming. Phil's a really good desert racer, so I kind of knew, like, my plan was to let Phil go and kind of catch him more in the rock side of the race. So I was really just kind of following Phil. Like, I really didn't plan on racing against him or anything, but I was like, let him go, follow him. And meanwhile, Eric's digging through the GPS trying to get to the volume. He backed out of the GPS side of it and went into the settings to turn the volume up on the Bluetooth. And about the time he did that, we hit a G out in the dust, and that was the end of it. Things happen fast, and there was no time to react or to check up or do anything. It was, by the time I realized what was happening, we were already in the air, going end over end. So at that point, yeah, there's not a lot you can do. It's kind of over with.
There we go. From Hunter Davidson, what was the biggest sense of camaraderie and sportsmanship from another racer that you experienced in either the 4900 or 4400 race?
Um, there's always a lot of sportsmanship. I'd say the majority of people, you know, man, it's hard to single one out off the top of my head, because there's a lot of different variations of that and what it looks like. There could be simply as some guy saying, calling a line out while you're pre-running, saying, "Hey, there's a better line over here. You might want to try it." Things like that are a huge help when you're pre-running and trying to map. It saves you a lot of time. All the way down to, maybe somebody unhooked a winch cable for me or hooked one up in the single seat car by myself. Probably majority of the time it's to get me out of the way quicker, but it's still sportsmanship, I would say. Or, and actually, I'd say there was guys that were broke on back door, and when I pulled up the back door, they just immediately ran over and, "You want to winch it or you want to try climbing?" I was like, "I'll just winch it if you're here." So I didn't even try to really climb it. I just let them hook the winch rope and ran it. It was way easier than me beating the car trying to get up it. So uh, just little things like that make a big difference throughout the race.
What was your most memorable part of the whole trip?
The most memorable part of the whole trip, I don't know, just the whole crew, everybody that we had there. We had a really good group of guys there, um, and they worked really hard. And I felt really bad in the UTV race. I felt like I let the crew down. They worked so hard on the cars, and I just felt like I let them down by not even getting to race the car. I was kind of bummed. Um, I feel like they did their part and I didn't do my part. So that's a little frustrating. But probably if I had to say most memorable part, sitting in the morning drinking cowboy coffee with Wayne. That's probably one of my favorite things I do at Hammers. Um, Hopefully I don't ruin it, but uh, if you show up at Wayne's early, he always has a pot of coffee going over a campfire, and normally you get to sit over there and have a nice cup of coffee and get to hear some pretty good stories.
How was your foot?
My foot's doing all right. It's got a few extra colors on it right now, but it's doing good. I think it'll be fine. Just give it a few more days; it'll heal up and be okay. Uh, I think I just bruised the arch of my foot. I jumped and landed with a rock right into the side of my shoe, a pointy one, and it dug into the arch of my foot, and just made it real pretty painful. And probably the worst part is when I drive running the manual brakes in the car, I switch from the ball of my foot to the arch of my foot to let my leg relax some. And once I hurt my foot, I could no longer use the arch of my foot, so I had to run it with the ball of my foot the entire rest of the race. And and I think that just added strain to the muscles that I bruised or damaged, and it was just making it hurt pretty bad. But I don't know, I guess I was being a crybaby about it. I don't know.
Even though you did not quit, because everyone watching your live stream heard you say you're not gonna. How many times did the idea of throwing in the towel come across your mind during that race?
Not at all. Not at all. I really wanted some water, but that was about it. So whoever got me the water bottle when I broke, that guy, I appreciate him. Um, I know he's not supposed to be on live race course, but
Yeah,
I was really happy to get that water bottle.
yeah, that was a message from God.
So no, no, definitely. Um, no, never really thought about quitting. That really wasn't a thought. Had a lot of thoughts, am I going the right direction or not? There's a few of those in
Thinking
there.
that you couldn't note the third lap, so you have a GPS that talks to you most of the time. But going in that third lap, you had to visually watch the GPS a lot.
Yeah, and I meant to do it this time, and I think in the future I'm going to do it. I'm going to put it on the Lowrance system too. I really like the lead nav system that we run with the notes, but when you can't note it because you can't pre-run it, I feel like the GPS is a little too vague at times. It's you got to really like focus on it to try to tell where you're going. And when you're trying to drive, and like you can't just look over and say, okay, I'm on the line, I'm off the line, because the dot on the GPS essentially is like 25 foot. So So even though the dot may be close to the line, you could still be 25 foot over to one side or the other. So I got to really pay attention to where I am. And I think I ran a few extra rocks that everybody else didn't run just because of that. Because I know Justin likes to keep us in the rocks. So if I was hesitant on if I could get out or not, I would normally just pound through a couple more rocks just to make sure I like stayed where I was supposed to be. And actually, for instance, one of the ones, Lauren got back around me at the top of Dead Blow because I'm over here running up this waterfall, this nasty waterfall, trying to climb it. And he took this side trail, and he might have been right. That might have been like the actual trail, like right to the right side of this waterfall. And meanwhile, I'm over here climbing it and working real hard. So, uh, but that is what it is. So I think next year we're gonna run the lead nav like we always do because I really like it. But I think on the third lap I'm gonna have that Lowrance system running also. I think it might be a little easier to drive and track the Lowrance system in the car versus using the lead nav. So that's one of the things we're already planning on upgrading.
How come you don't have portals?
They're expensive. If somebody wants to buy them, I'd be happy to try them out. It's a cost, and it's not just the initial cost, it's the maintenance cost of them too. There's a lot of maintenance that goes into them, which I'm not afraid of the work part, I'm just scared of the dollars part. It's a big cost on the vehicles. I think they have their spot for sure, but I think there's also disadvantages too. So I think there's a number of things there. I don't think that's just a real simple question you can just answer. I think there's a little more detail that needs to go into that.
How are you able to stay so calm while racing, even after braking?
I've been there a lot. During the race, I've always been fairly calm. I'd say as with age and time, I'm learning to verbalize to my pit crew more. Because some of the things that I think that I see and take inside the car as I race, I find them, I think they're simple. They come to me real easy, real naturally. I don't put any thought into it. It just clicks through my brain really simply. And I think everybody else should see that too. And I learned the hard way that either they don't have the information I have, or maybe they don't see what I see. So verbalizing that stuff as it happens or as I see it is very key and important to keeping the crew and everybody at the same speed that I'm at. As far as like what's going on with the car and what I need or what I'm thinking. I think I still struggle with staying calm sometimes in the pit. I need to work on that as a driver. But as far as staying calm in the car during the actual race, I've always found that part pretty easy to do. I get more animated and wound up when outside people are talking to me, telling me information either I already know, and I think is very obvious. And people tell you stuff like you're in there, fighting with a car that's getting hot or doing this, and then they get on the radio and they tell you, hey, that your car looks like it's running hot, and that stuff winds me up. But as far as driving, I don't know, driving's natural for me. It's easy.
All right.
You ready?
Yes, sir.
What's up, everybody? So, answering questions still here. Major question is, are you going to get a solid axle? No. And are you going to switch from single seat? No. Okay, I'll go into details. Okay.
Yeah.
Solid axle. Well, I shoved the solid axle up dead blow, so clearly they're not better than IFS, despite internet. And the single seat I can see really well, and I like the single seat car. So I'm not super keen on not having a single seat. Is there advantages to two seat? Absolutely. Is there disadvantages to two seat? Absolutely. Same thing with single seat. So the big thing is the driver needs to exploit whichever car he has, exploit it the best he can, and use all of his advantages that associate with his vehicle, and try to mitigate all the disadvantages. I think that's what makes a good driver and potentially a king or a champion.
Simple as that.